Have you ever stopped to think about how other people live around the world? Did you realize that there are hundreds of tribes that exist throughout the world, from deserted islands to small villages in South America and everything in between? There are many communities of people that aren't connected to the outer society. It's difficult to imagine a life like theirs, as it's unlike anything we've ever experienced before. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 isolated tribes and exploring their lifestyles. Women risk life contacting this tribe. Have you ever fantasized about life on a deserted island? The seclusion from others and the freedom to live in peace is an enticing thought. In theory, that lifestyle sounds perfect. The first story we're going to talk about is a woman who let her curiosity guide her to the Andaman Islands. The Andaman Islands are situated between India and Myanmar, but remain a union territory of India. With crystal clear water and beautiful beaches, it's paradise from the outside looking in. Unfortunately, the islands aren't exactly how they appear. Whilst tourists are able to visit some of the islands with a visitation permit from the Indian government, there is one that is off limits. The North Sentinel Island is one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world that still exist. Indigenous tribes who made their mark on the island since the pre-Neolithic era inhabit the island. The people of the island don't respond well to visitors of any kind. In fact, they are considered to be one of the most treacherous tribes in the world. They are known to brutally murder those who step foot on their island. Anthropologists have long sought to make contact with the people of this tribe to better understand their way of living. Many have attempted to make contact over the years, but with no success. It wasn't until a woman from India by the name of Dr. Madhumala Chattopadhyay made it her mission to peacefully visit and communicate with the tribe that any progress was made. As an anthropologist herself, Madhumala took a keen interest in the tribe during the course of her studies. She set out to connect with the Sentinelese people in 1991, taking a different approach than her predecessors. She came bearing coconuts and threw them into the water as the boat approached the shore. Instead of being met with bows and arrows, as those who came before her, she was welcomed into the tribe after making a bold move. Dr. Madhumala embraced another woman from the tribe with a hug, and what could have been the worst decision of her life changed everything. She made history as the first woman to connect with the Sentinelese people, allowing her to hold their children, help with the chores, and provide medical care. Her triumph was groundbreaking, and one of the few success stories to have come from visiting this tribe. In 1991, an anthropological team was granted access to the island, but only left with more questions than answers. One of the most recent attempts to make contact with the tribe was in 2018. A 26-year-old American named John Allen Chow set out on a mission to convert the tribe to Christianity. In order to do so, he spent time attempting to learn their language and eventually had fishermen take him to the island. His initial welcome was better than anticipated as he gifted them with fish and other offerings, but was scared off when a tribesman shot an arrow at him. He later returned and instructed the fishermen to leave him there. When they went back to check on him, the Sentinelese were dragging his dead corpse along the beach. The Brazilian tribes. If you had to guess how many tribes were in Brazil alone, many people wouldn't say any more than a handful. However, to our surprise, there are over 100 isolated groups of indigenous people throughout Brazil. Many of them are concentrated in one area of Brazil, the Javari Valley. This valley is vast, and drones have only recently spotted some tribes and their members. Tribesmen from this indigenous Indian tribe in the Amazon made contact with people in a small village close to the Peruvian border. This was their first appearance since the 90s and was motivated by fear. Their homes had been set on fire and ancestors had been murdered, driving them away from the forest they call home. Fear is known to be a driving force when it comes to hostilities between uncontacted tribes and outsiders. With a history of indigenous people being killed and forced to assimilate, that is all some of these groups know of the outside world. Even when these tribes want to make contact, they struggle with facing their fear of others and the unknowns that come with branching out. When comparing the uncontacted tribes in Brazil to the Sentinelese tribe, it's easy to see how the Sentinelese haven't dealt with much disturbance over the years. They've had the advantage of living on an island, where they are completely cut off from the outside world. Whereas the Brazilian tribes are still on the mainland, where they face the threat of outsiders. Although the Sentinelese people are probably even more fearful than other groups because they have remained in less contact than other tribes. Another threat that these tribes currently face is the global pandemic. COVID-19 has wreaked havoc upon all countries, with Brazil being one that has been hit the hardest. With little to no medical care available, poor nutrition and low immunity to viruses, COVID-19 can easily wipe out these tribes. Luis Segal, an immunobiologist, has studied the behavior of viruses, including Ebola and influenza, and can't determine if certain ethnicities are more susceptible than others. Either way, experts predict a virus of this caliber could be catastrophic to these tribes. Among the reasons aforementioned is the mere fact that they are all living and sleeping in tight quarters, so if one person catches the virus, they all will, and Brazil will lose a piece of their history with them. Uncontacted Indians of Peru. Peru is also home to isolated tribes. Whilst there may not be as many as there are in Brazil, there are still about 15 tribes that remain uncontacted within the Peruvian Amazon. After over 100 years of living in complete isolation, they have been seen outside Manu National Park on several occasions and have interacted with villagers and tourists. Despite their friendly nature and peaceful interactions more recently, they have been known to murder men by bow and arrow. Although the forested area they occupy is remote, more than 70% of the Amazon in Peru has been taken over by oil companies. Therefore, oil workers and illegal loggers are opening up previously secluded areas to intruders. As you can imagine, these tribes face similar threats as the Brazilian tribes in respect to their proximity to society within the forest. Their low immunity to disease is another threat they constantly face, especially during COVID-19. Information about these tribes, their lifestyles, and the way they live, talk, and survive are unknown. Other than their movements, as the isolated Indians are constantly on the move, depending on the season is all we know. Rainy season equates to high water levels, resulting in the tribes setting up shelter deep in the forest. During dry season, on the other hand, they camp near beaches where they can fish. In our current climate, it's frightening to think about the challenges these tribes face and the fear they face with more people encroaching on their turf. After exploring the mysterious and unknown lives of those who remain out of distance from society, many questions arise. Will they ever attempt to reintegrate back into society? Will they cease to exist with the threat of COVID-19, or will they simply carry on as they have been all of these years? At this point, it's too difficult to say, and the answers remain a mystery that only time will tell. To lose tribes now would be unfortunate due to the lack of information we know about these isolated tribes. All we can do now is wait and hope that someday these uncontacted tribes will welcome us, allowing for a better understanding of their way of life. But what do you make of these isolated tribes? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.